Three undervalued stock opportunities while the masses chase overpriced tech stocks. Praying the music never stops, something remarkable is unfolding. Three giant corporations with rock-solid business models are sitting at valuations that genuinely surprised me when I reviewed them this morning. And here's what's been on my mind lately. 6 months from now, countless investors will kick themselves wondering how they overlooked opportunities that were staring them directly in the face this whole time. I'm going to show you three stocks with genuine portfolio-changing potential, and I've personally deployed my own money into two of them. But first, let me ask you something. Smash that subscribe button right now. If you're done chasing hype and want authentic analysis that sharpens your investment decisions, Stock Aura is your home. We deliver substance instead of noise, concrete data instead of hollow hype. Also, engage in the comments as we explore these opportunities because I genuinely care which one speaks to you most. And if this breakdown delivers value, pass it along to someone who needs this information. All right, let's get started. Stock number 1, Target. The first opportunity has been brutalized in the media lately. I'm referring to Target. Yes, the same Target where you plan to grab milk and mysteriously walk out with $200 worth of stuff. I already know your thoughts. Target's been plastered across headlines for every wrong reason imaginable. Security issues, supply chain nightmares, one controversy after another. The stock's plummeted roughly 25% this year and trades over 50% beneath its 2021 peak. But here's where smart investors spot opportunity. When I examine Target today, I'm not witnessing a dying business. I'm observing a company operating over 2,000 locations across all 50 states, generating north of $100 billion in annual revenue. This isn't some cash-burning startup with zero profitability path. This is an established retail giant with millions of devoted customers, legitimate cash generation, and actual earnings. Current share price hovers around $95, placing market cap near $43 billion. That figure alone reveals nothing. Let's examine what truly matters. Target's dividend yield approaches 5%. Sure, that's partly because share price collapsed, but they're still generating approximately $3 billion in free cash flow annually, returning about $2 billion directly to shareholders through dividends. They're trading below 15 times free cash flow and under 12 times earnings. For a company with this magnitude and proven track record, these metrics are legitimately attractive. Profit margins took hits recently, sliding from historical levels above 4% down to roughly 3.5%. But the crucial question, are we witnessing temporary pain or permanent destruction? There's one metric I constantly monitor: return on capital. This reveals how effectively a company converts money into more money for shareholders like us. Target's 5-year return on capital stands at 14%. That's impressive performance, showing management knows how to deploy capital intelligently. Revenue growth has flatlined or turned slightly negative recently, but zoom out to longer time frames and you'll see consistent growth patterns. The real question becomes, can Target successfully execute their turnaround strategy? Consider their competitive advantages. They're rolling out new initiatives like membership programs for same-day delivery, competing directly with Amazon but with one enormous advantage. Amazon can't easily replicate physical stores where you return products face-to-face. No waiting days for return boxes. No hoping packages arrive safely. You walk in, hand it over, done. That's a genuine competitive moat in today's digital-first marketplace. If you believe Target will still serve millions of customers 10 years from now, the question shifts to, what price makes this intelligent investing? Running my projections, assuming conservative revenue growth of 2 to 4% annually, factoring in gradual store expansion and normal inflation, profit margins recovering to 3 to 5%, and applying reasonable valuation multiples of roughly 17 to 23 times earnings a decade out, I arrive at intrinsic value ranges. Conservative scenario, around $160. Optimistic scenario, closer to $250 midpoint, approximately $170. With shares trading at $95 today, if my middle scenario unfolds, we're potentially seeing annual returns in the mid to high teens, including dividends. For a mature, stable business, that's genuinely compelling. Let me pause here. If you're finding this valuable, Drop a comment telling me which stock interests you most. Seriously, the comment section drives real conversations, and I read every single one. And if someone you know needs this analysis, hit that share button. Too many people invest blindly right now, and that's exactly how wealth transfers from impatient hands to patient ones. Stock number 2, Nike. Now, let's discuss stock number 2, Nike. This one hurts because I remember when Nike was Wall Street's darling, trading above $180 per share not long ago. I actually said then it looked overpriced and I'd be interested closer to $100. People thought I'd lost my mind. They insisted Nike would never fall that far. Well, it didn't just fall to $100, it crashed below $60. We're talking almost 70% decline from all-time highs. This company now trades at price levels lower than a full decade ago. But here's what separates genuine investors from speculators. When everyone's sprinting toward the exits terrified, that's precisely when real opportunities tend to emerge. Nike isn't disappearing. This is the planet's largest athletic apparel and footwear company. They own brands like Jordan. They partner with the biggest athletes alive. They sell products in over 190 countries worldwide. They brought in a new CEO, Elliott Hill, focused on long-term sustainable growth and profitability. Let me pose a simple question. 20 years from now, will Nike still exist? I'm betting you answered yes. Second question, will their revenue and profits be higher or lower than today? If you believe they'll be higher and you believe the company maintains its athletic wear dominance, then the question isn't whether Nike deserves consideration. The question is, at what price does it make sense? Currently, Nike pays roughly 2.75% dividend yield. Their free cash flow took hits recently, dropping to around $3 billion from a 5-year average closer to $5 billion, but this reflects their transformation phase. They're trading at roughly 28 times current free cash flow, which might sound expensive until you realize based on their 5-year average, it's closer to 17 times. Their return on capital over 5 years, 18%. Even with recent struggles, gross profit margin sits at 42%. Think about that. For every product sold, 42 cents of every dollar is gross profit before operating costs. That's real pricing power. The stock's 5-year return has been negative. We're down about 60% from levels 5 years ago. But that's exactly what makes this interesting. If you believe in mean reversion, if you believe quality companies with powerful brands eventually get market recognition again, current prices start looking very different. Analyst estimates suggest earnings will drop roughly 22%. Short-term before recovering to nearly $5 per share by 2030, revenue growth projections are modest, maybe 2 to 7%, annually over coming years. When I model this conservatively, assuming 3 to 7% annual revenue growth, profit margins recovering from current depressed levels to around 9 to 12%, and valuation multiples at the end of 10 years somewhere between 19 to 25 times earnings, which seems reasonable for a premium brand with Nike's global position, I get an intrinsic value range, low end, around $50 high end, around $110 midpoint, roughly $75. At $57 today, the middle scenario suggests potential returns of about 12.5% annually. For Nike, with their brand strength, global reach, and pricing power, that's not bad whatsoever. Here's what you need to remember. Investing isn't about buying what's popular. It's about buying what's mispriced. When everyone loves a stock, you're probably paying too much. When everyone hates it, that's often when real money gets made. Not always, but often enough that it's worth serious attention. Stock number 3, Sprouts Farmers Market. The third stock doesn't get nearly the attention it deserves, Sprouts Farmers Market. Ticker SFM, this isn't Costco or Walmart. It's a specialty grocer focused on natural and organic foods. They've been executing at incredibly high levels quietly. I actually owned this stock when it traded in the low $30s, watched it climb all the way to $165, had my shares called away through covered calls, then watched it climb even higher before pulling back. Talk about a roller coaster. But here's the thing. Sprouts is on my list of companies I'd love to own forever, and now it's pulled back over 50% from those highs. The stock currently trades around $80 with an $8 billion market cap. It hit an all-time high of $182 back in June. They only operate about 400 stores right now, but their expansion plan targets 1,200 to 1,500 locations over time. This is a growth story still in relatively early innings. What really captures my attention is their profit margin trajectory. Their 10-year average was about 4%, 5-year average closer to 4.7%. Last year, they hit nearly 6%. For a grocery store to generate 6% profit margins, that's genuinely impressive. Here's why this matters tremendously. Sprouts has been expanding their private label brand, and those products carry gross margins of 50 to 60% compared to their overall gross margin of about 39%. As they sell more of their own brand, which customers clearly love because it offers quality at competitive prices, those profit margins should continue expanding. I genuinely believe this could become a 7 to 8% profit margin business over time. And if that happens, the stock will get revalued significantly higher. Their return on capital is solid for a growing company, sitting around 11 to 12%. That tells me they're expanding efficiently, opening new stores that generate strong returns. Analyst estimates are quite bullish, projecting earnings growth from about $5.30 per share this year to $8 per share in 4 years. Revenue growth estimates run 9 to 15% annually, driven by both same-store sales increases and new location openings. When I model Sprouts with revenue growth assumptions of 6 to 10% annually, profit margins expanding to 5.5 to 7.5%, and valuation multiples in 10 years of 16 to 22 times earnings, I get an intrinsic value range, low end around $96, high end around $220 midpoint, about $150 at $80 today. Even the conservative scenario suggests meaningful upside. The middle case implies very healthy annual returns. Now, here's a lesson I learned the hard way that I want to share. Don't get emotionally attached to the price you paid for something. I bought Sprouts in the low $30s. It's now at $80, but that doesn't mean it's expensive. What matters is what the business is worth today and where it's headed tomorrow, not where I happen to buy it. Too many investors make this mistake. They see a stock double or triple and assume they missed it. Meanwhile, the business might have only gotten stronger and the valuation might still be reasonable or even cheap. Conclusion. So there you have it. 3 completely different businesses. Target, a mature retail giant navigating rough patches but with strong fundamentals intact. Nike, an iconic global brand that's been beaten down but maintains incredible pricing power and market position. Sprouts, a growing specialty grocer with expanding margins and a long runway for store growth. None of these are the AI stocks everyone's obsessing over. None are crypto or meme stocks. They're real businesses with real cash flows and real competitive advantages. I want to be crystal clear about something. Nothing I've shared here is a guarantee. Markets are unpredictable. Individual stocks can and do go down, sometimes dramatically. But if you're willing to look past the headlines, ignore short-term noise, and focus on what businesses are actually worth based on their fundamentals, you're going to position yourself better than 99% of people out there just chasing momentum. The key is doing your homework, understanding the numbers, knowing what you own and why you own it. That way, when stocks inevitably fluctuate, and they absolutely will, you're not panicking and selling at the worst possible time. You're thinking like a business owner, not a speculator. Before I wrap up, I really want to hear from you. Which of these 3 stocks resonates with you most? Are you a Target believer who thinks they'll turn things around? A Nike fan who thinks the brand is too strong to stay down? Or are you intrigued by Sprouts and their growth potential? Drop a comment right now and let's have a real conversation about this. And if someone you know could benefit from this kind of level-headed analysis, share this video with them. We're building a community of serious investors here at Stock Aura, and that starts with you spreading the word. Thanks for sticking with me through this entire breakdown. Now go do your own research, make your own decisions, and invest with confidence and discipline.